The design section is where you can build out your site's core elements and overall layout. No matter what your skill level is with building websites, this tool is extremely user-friendly and highly customizable. You'll start out in the Style section. Here, you'll choose your site's primary color, fonts and size for your default headers and paragraph text, as well as your button type. The primary color will be predominantly featured across your site, like the highlighting color below the Shop by Category, or the Filter by Price option in the category pages. By clicking the color swatch, you can update the primary color and shade. You can also manually type in the hex color code in case you have that information. Next will be the headings, secondary headings, and paragraph fields. Here you can set what your default font, size, and bold type that will be applied to your headings and paragraph text. Headings, also known as H1s, will be your page titles like Contact or About Us. The secondary headings, also known as H2s, will be your subheadings like the Shop by Category and the New Arrivals. And of course, paragraphs will be any text added to the page. These will be your site's defaults to try to keep consistency across the website. But of course, you can change out individual headings or text when building out your pages. You'll have access to the 12 fonts that will work across all browsers. The style will allow you to adjust the boldness of the font. And although here there are a lot of available options, most fonts will only have a few available. Additionally, with paragraphs, you can adjust the amount of space between lines of text. Below there will be the button section. Here you can choose the color and style of the buttons across the website. Best practice here is to choose the button color, then make the stroke, which is the outline color of the button, a few shades darker. This will help contour the button to give a little bit more depth. You can also choose your font and style, and choose either square, rounded, or pill. The custom CSS field will only be used if you're coding your own site or have a web developer, so for most stores you can avoid this section. Below that is the custom font, which is a great feature to utilize. Like we mentioned earlier, there will be 12 fonts that will be usable across all browsers, but many stores will want to add in additional fonts to use in place of their logo or on their slideshow. By going to fonts.google, you can browse through countless fonts to find the font or fonts that best represents your store branding. You can copy the embedded code from these fonts and paste them into the custom font field to utilize these fonts across your website. Next is the logo section, where you can upload your logo. Although you can upload a JPEG or PNG file, a PNG file is recommended, and we suggest keeping the logo at 250 by 60 pixels. Many stores might have larger logos that look great in social media profile pics, but they can either greatly increase the size of the header, or they can have a subtitle that won't be visible in a mobile device. Many websites are swapping out their larger logos for smaller insignias, or just putting their store title into the logo text field. This is also a great place to utilize Google Fonts. Finding a fun font that wouldn't be great for paragraph text, but might be a great splashy font to highlight your store name on your website. The next section will be navigation. You can choose to orient your navigation bar and logo in the center of the page or off to the left. This normally depends on the shape of your store logo. If you have a larger logo, many stores will choose to keep it centered. If you have a smaller logo or just using the logo text field, then many stores will choose to use the left-aligned layout. You can change the background color of the header as well as change the color of the page links. More often than not, you will want to keep your header color white, especially if you're using a JPEG image that may have a white border that could clash with a colored background. The navigation section will also be where you can add a banner across the top of the website to highlight specific messages. Here you can add messages like free shipping over $100 or promoting a coupon code. It's a very simple feature that can benefit your store and your customers greatly. The next section is header. This is where you can customize what your customers see when they first come to your site. The first three options, single image, viewport image, and slideshow, allow you to choose a single or multiple photos to place in your header. These images are often referred to as hero shots, the first image a customer sees when they come to your site. There is also the ability to add a solid color or remove the header altogether. The big thing to remember is that all of these image options do need a photo with a width of 1920 pixels. Each option does have their own recommended heights, and making sure your photos meet these pixel requirements is a necessity for a good-looking site. If the image is too small, it can be stretched out and start to pixelate the content, or if the photo is too large or too tall, then it can throw off the layout of the home page, even affect the load time. We often suggest that stores start with selecting none at the bottom of the page, focus on getting their products and other site basics added, and view the header as its own project. Stores may opt to hire a photographer to get a few quality shots of the store, or go online and find a stock image. The single image will have a hard separation between the image and the navigation bar, where the viewpoint will blend the photo with the navigation. This is more of a modern layout style and will work great if the photo you're using has a high or low contrast, so that way the shop and pages are easily visible. The last thing to note about the viewport image is you will want to toggle on the transparent navigation toggle button in the lower left-hand corner to make that navigation transparent. And of course, you can change the link color of your pages in the navbar. The slideshow will allow you to add up to 6 slides. This works great if you're promoting a few sales or categories, or if you have a good amount of photos to choose from. So if you do hire a photographer to get shots of the store, you may choose to sub in and out slides in the slideshow to have a fresh look to your website. Each of these sections allow you to add a headline and a call to action button. And of course, you can adjust the headline's color, font, size, alignment, and position. Finding a fun or splashy font in Google Fonts works great with these headlines. The solid color is a great placeholder in case you're having consignors or vendors logging into their account while you're building out your site. You can add something like site under construction while you're finishing building out your web store. As we mentioned before, setting the header to none is a smart move during the early stages of building out your site, but it's also common practice for stores that may be utilizing the web store strictly for the e-commerce elements and attaching the homepage to a pre-existing website. If your store currently has a website and you don't want to rebuild everything, but still use Ricochet to sell items, then you can attach the Ricochet site to your current site. And this is normally referred to as a subdomain, meaning the URL attached to Ricochet would be something like store.yourstoresurl. Finally, there will be the footer section, and this will be visible on the bottom of each page of your website. Common practice with footers is to have your store address, hours of operation, social media links, and links to your current pages. There will be a traditional page editor to update this info, often called a WYSIWYG editor, or what you see is what you get. You will also see a few default hyperlinks with common page titles. Here you can change the title of the pages and double-click the text to change the hyperlink. There will also be an additional 4 links in case you build out additional pages, rather than just the standard default ones we have available. And of course, you can delete all of these if you're just using the e-commerce store as a subdomain. The social media links will be the only thing that you will update in the settings section. If you're planning on using an email sign-up or newsletter pop-up through a service like MailChimp, you can create that sign-up form within that service, copy the script they provide you, then click the source field to paste the script into your site. This will make sure that whenever someone comes to the homepage, that this newsletter or email pop-up appears. Now, if you make any mistakes in the footer, you can always click Reset Defaults to start over and click Save HTML to save any updates to the footer section.